Now we're going to change pace a little bit now, and we've asked 5 chief financial officers to put their heads together and come up here and let us know just exactly what they've been doing in recent times, really to look at some of the challenges that they've faced and how they've actually dealt with them. So I'd like to ask them to come join us on the stage. I'll call them out, and please just maybe about, if you can quickly give us about 3 minutes presentation each, then sit down and maybe we'll have a chance to have a bit of interaction with the audience in terms of what's going on. From Shell Pakistan, the Chief Financial Officer, Rafi Bashir. Rafi, you're here to join us? Here he is, good man. From Central Depository Company, Faisal Hussain Ghafoor, the Chief Financial Officer, of course. Faisal. And if you don't mind, Rafi, if you take the far seat, and then if you line up for me, I'll be very appreciative. We have with us from Novartis Pharma Pakistan, Khalid Noor, the Chief Financial Officer. Khalid, thank you so much for joining us. From Atok Cement, Irfan Amanullah from Atok Cement. Thank you so much, Irfan. And from L'Oreal Pakistan, Salman Shoaib. Salman is here also. Wonderful. Now, and since Salman is just walking up, he gets the short straw, so I'm going to put him on the podium right away. So we're really looking forward to hearing. So I'm going to just call them one by one. They'll give us a brief play-by-play of what they encountered, how they dealt with it, and then we'll have a chance perhaps to put a few questions to them. We'll have a very quick rapid-fire short session, maybe about 30 minutes in all, and we really appreciate your cooperation on this one, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I won't be far away.
Yeah. That's unfair, actually, 3 minutes, but I'll try to finish it in 3 minutes. Well, I'm from L'Oreal, as you've seen. So please don't expect any fashion statements here. There will be none. Sorry, which one? Oh, okay. So I'll start off with the main thing. L'Oreal, as I just want to mention that it's a 3-year-old company in Pakistan. It's not a very old company. It is a 100% owned subsidiary of L'Oreal SA in Paris, and we are in the process of course, doing all the cosmetics and beauty. So just to start off with it, these are some of the contents of my presentation. So I'll just get you through with each of them. My presentation is not generally like about any specific issue that we faced. It's about how a new company has been established in Pakistan, MNCs, and then what issues we faced and how did we ensure that all of these main issues are addressed in the larger interest of the company. So my first point is that in this case in Pakistan, a lot of these instruments, MNCs, are investing in the potential of the company. They're not investing in the past profits, they're investing in the future. I think throughout the day we've heard quite a lot about the consumerism of Pakistan, the middle class and everything else. So that is the first point. The investor today is not profiting from yesterday's growth. They are looking at the future. And Pakistan, in the L'Oreal or in any other case for MNC which is coming into Pakistan, is looking at the future rather than at the past. As I said, the MNCs are banking on the potential of our country. Pakistan is a strategic partner in this process. In this case, for us as L'Oreal, it was very important for us to ensure that we are addressing the concerns of L'Oreal in the right way. So in that manner, it puts a lot of emphasis on the CFO, who is looked out as a guardian of the assets of the company. And that's why it was a very important task for the CFO to come in. Setting up a subsidiary and aligning investor confidence. Normally in an MNC environment, it is very difficult nowadays for us to go and convince a foreign investor to invest in Pakistan. So a lot of pre-subsidiary considerations were done, and the CFO of the company really played a very critical role in ensuring that all the stakeholders at the company in Paris are really, really aware of what Pakistan is really all about, and to ensure that all the multiple stakeholders at all the different levels are aware that they are investing in the right place. At the same time, the CFO is categorically a lot of decision making on make versus buy, on a lot of decisions. So in any case, when we set up the company in Pakistan, it was a lot of decision making on how to structure the company. And in that case, the CFO played a very, very critical role in addressing this issue. At the same time, what we've seen over the last 3 years in Pakistan is that the CFO is now becoming more and more as an advisor to the CEO rather than just a number cruncher. So in that manner, as the CFO was a real partnership with the country head and the management committee. So what we saw in the last 3 years was that the growth strategies of the company were really driven mainly by the top management and by the zone, and the CFO played a very, very vital role in this respect. And the modern CFO is looked out as an enabler of the organization rather than just a guy who is looking after the numbers and preparing reports. And some of the aspects that we've seen are the advisor to the management committee. We're looking as an advisor. We prepared a lot of work on how to structure the distribution network in Pakistan, about how to price our products. That was very important, and at the same time, running the sales and commercial strategy. Highlight growth areas for tomorrow. So manufacturing plans, whether we want to go into manufacturing, whether we want to continue with imports. A lot of the impetus came from the finance community, from the CFO of the organization. Resource allocation and budgeting, of course, is always a very important task of a CFO, and that is where we helped. At the same time, the CFO is really a reality check that there has to be a balance between ambition and harakari. So that is where the CFO really played a very important role in the last 3 years, and it's very easy for a new organization to come in and to do a lot of ambition, do a lot of cost, do a lot of expenses, and then lose money in the end. So CFO played a very vital role in setting up this whole operation. At the same time, we also believe that now the modern CFO is not looked out as only a financial and accounting guy. He has a lot of hats to wear, and at the same time, he is not the traditional head of finance. So ensuring commercial success, so at the same time, for the last 3 years, the one thing that we've seen in Pakistan and L'Oreal is that a CFO as a head of finance and legal and IT, whatever, is a very, very important player and a very natural ally to the supply chain and operations people in the organization. So how to set up a company, how to order, how to price the product, how to do the customs duty and everything. So in that manner, the CFO played a very important role. And last but not least, the control and governance environment. That is the most important task that we did. At the same time, I just go through some of these points here. Internal controls, as I said, was very, very important. And as a new organization, that is the most critical element because a lot of things can go out in the setup of a new organization. ERPs, no organization of today can work without an ERP. So for the last 3 years, we've been setting up ERP systems. We've been using systems as we grow into the organization and not going for the best of the class ERP in the first stage. So we went to a small ERP and then we went to a larger ERP. At the same time, we developed a very, very proactive and reporting framework because this is very important. The CFOs of the modern world are not now reactive. They have to be proactive. So what we did was we set up a pretty strong reporting analysis network, including the internal lines and the external lines. So that was really important for us. At the same time, investing in human resources. At this moment, L'Oreal is a new company, it's a new firm. We are about 45 people in the organization. But at the same time, the most important thing for us is to ensure that our human resources and everything else in the finance area is properly accounted for. And that was one of the main areas for the CFO to ensure that the finance people, the IT people, the legal guys are all properly accounted for. And that was the area that we looked at. Last but not least, you all know, I think this is a very generic slide for a lot of pretty senior people sitting in this organization, but this important cannot be looked out. Efficient cash and working capital management. We started off with a very, very small capital base, and for a new company that's always very important. But as the organization grew, we have now still a very strong working capital management process. At the same time, internal norms and getting into the international norms and developing it for local areas is very important. At the same time, we are looking at securing low cost of finances, bank contracts versus LCs, very basic, but at the same time, as I said, for the new organization, it is really, really important. Infrastructure funded by long-term finance, and at the same time, cost control. And this is where the new organization has been very, very important to ensure that the cost structure does not go out of hand. So my presentation was not about a very specific area. It's about 3 minutes. You can go as much as you can, but at the same time, it is about setting up a new subsidiary in a very volatile market like Pakistan. Today, that is very important to ensure that we are starting on the right foot to ensure long-term success for the future of this organization. That's much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I think we got a nice compromise there. Almost about 5 minutes, so we didn't do too bad. So Salman Shoaib from L'Oreal, because he's worth it. Sorry, I couldn't resist.